What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam. I hope you guys are doing great tonight. Hope everybody's having a fantastic Friday. Hope you guys are looking forward to a wonderful weekend. Tonight, we have a real 2025 fantasy football draft here on the channel for our annual SuperFlex League. Super excited for this draft. It is going to be a tough draft for sure. This is a keeper league. Like I said, this is one of our annual leagues that we run with the community. Generally speaking, everybody is back from last year, and this is always a keeper league. So for those of you guys tuning in, that is why you see some players already off of the board here, and throughout today or tonight's draft, I should say, you will see players gone at different values, but nonetheless, this is still a real fantasy football draft for our Superflex league, and I'm super pumped. So we're going to have Puka gone in the second, Jamar Chase gone in the second, Jada Daniels gone in the third, Malik Neighbors in the fifth, B. Tom in the eighth, Higgins in the sixth, Judy in the 13th, Ladd in the ninth, Chase Sprout in the 10th, Josh Allen's gone in the first, J-Mo gone in the 10th, and Bo Nix gone in the 10th. So this is going to be a tough draft. Still should give you guys out there in 12-team Superflex formats a pretty good idea of what to look for. But I do understand, quite a few of these players are going to be available to you that, are not going to be available in certain rounds in tonight's draft. But like I said, this is an annual league. And keepers are on the board. This is one of three leagues that is a keeper league. Catch Fam League 1 is a keeper league. Superflex League is a keeper league. And the Auction League is a is a keeper league. So guys, we'll see two drafts. I don't stream the auction draft because it takes way too long. But Catch Fam League 1 and the Superflex format, you guys will see keepers. But we are about to kick this off. It's 9:30, so I'm going to send out final warnings on Discord and Sleeper for this league. And then I am starting this draft at hopefully 9:30 p.m. promptly. Okay, one more warning on Discord, and we are getting going. So, hope you guys are doing great tonight. And hop in the live chat. Let me know how you guys are doing. Any fantasy football questions? You guys have any NFL topics that you guys want to go over? Throw them in the live chat. Let's have some fun. Let's talk some fantasy football. And let's hop into a real draft. Okay, I have Jaden Daniels gone in the third. This is a really tough choice for me. With the lack of skill position players that are going to be in this draft, specifically at the wide receiver position, I don't mind taking a wide receiver here. I don't mind going running back here either because I have the advantage of a Jaden Daniels in the third round. So if I wanted to go kind of like quote unquote zero QB or hero QB, I think it's doable here. But it is really hard to pass on Lamar Jackson. And then, I don't really need to worry about the quarterback position for the entirety of this draft. So it's a super close call there. I don't want to sway the rest of the first round here, but I kind of had a tough decision planning for this draft. Do I go with the skill position player? Probably a wide receiver. Do I go with a running back? Potentially. Or do I just take a best quarterback that's on the board? And, I do like this right here. I don't need to worry about the quarterback position for the rest of the draft due to this, due to my keeper, Jaden Daniels, in the third. And we will figure out our skill positions, but wide receiver is going to be really thin in this draft. But fortunately, right, wide receiver is, in my opinion, the deepest position of all. So we should be able to find some pretty good value. So as you guys are tuning in, I will continue to remind you guys this is a keeper league. It is in the stream title, so it shouldn't confuse too many people. But you will see some players across. I just remember last year we did a keeper league. It was this league. We streamed it. People were like, what is this? Why is Brian Thomas Jr. gone in the 8th? And neighbors, who let Josh Allen go to the 110? It's like, it's a keeper league. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's going to be a fun draft. I'm going to try and not sway the draft too much, but also going to try and keep some conversation going. So do you see 2 running backs already gone here in the first? Bijan at the 1-6, Gibbs at the 1-8. If I did go running back there at the 1-3, would be Bijan. If I did go wide receiver with what was available, it would have been Justin Jefferson for sure. For sure. Tough choices, but I do think ultimately, like I have built a lot of SuperFlex teams. I won a championship last year by going 0 quarterback, going Goff, Baker, Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson in my draft. Goff was still like a 5th rounder, so semi-late 0 quarterback build, right? And you could even look at that as like a hero QB build. And I think you can really do well in SuperFlex leagues with that strategy. You have to hit on the right players. But at the same time, generally speaking, you guys know this when it comes to SuperFlex for me. I'm always keen to double quarterback early, get it out of the way, and just go from there. Like, I think Mr. Sarcastic at the 112 is in a really good spot, having Bo Nix as his keeper in the 10th, because like you really get a QB. You can go a little bit lighter value and get skill position early, like Drake London at the 112. We'll see what he does at the 2-1. But I think, like, keeper starting quarterback in the 10th is so solid. But we'll see what happens here. All right, so we do have some NFL preseason action going on. And obviously, had a couple games yesterday, but the big one for tonight is Bears-Chiefs. We basically got all the starters offensively for the Bears and the Chiefs. Caleb Williams, that game's still going on, but I would imagine we're not going to get much more of the starters. Yeah, I mean, Mahomes is already out. So Caleb Williams, 6 of 9 for 41 passing yards. DeAndre Swift, bulk of the carries, 7 touches, 28 yards on the ground. Sorry, my voice just cracked. I don't know why. DJ Moore had a catch. DeAndre Swift had a catch. Olamide Zacchaeus continues to get some involvement. Roma Dunze a catch. Colston Loveland a catch. I mean, I guess, without seeing a touchdown, this is basically what you would want to see from the Bears. Involvement from all these guys. Mahomes, 8 of 13, 143 passing yards, and a tutty. Tutty went to Rashee Rice. Travis Kelce had 2 catches. Xavier Worthy had a catch. That backfield's still pretty split. 3 touches for Pacheco, 21 yards on the ground, and a touchdown. I am still of the belief that when the season starts, Pacheco is going to be the starter and see the bulk of the carries. But we did get some involvement out of Kareem Hunt and Brashard Smith as well. Let's see. Outside of that, we got the Eagles and Jets. And nothing to report there. John Mechie had a catch for the Eagles. But really no starters for the Eagles or Jets. Falcons. Cowboys. Once again, literally nothing to report. I mean, I guess Jadon Blue looked okay. Scored a touchdown. Deuce Vaughn got quite a few carries, but yeah, not a lot to report there. Vikings at the Titans. Once again. Cam Ward got a drive. He was 3 of 4 for 36 passing yards. LK Manor had 3 catches. Tyler Lockett was on the field. No Calvin Ridley. I guess we do need to discuss the B-Rob trade. And I am happy to say that one of my landing spots that I predicted on stream for Brian Robinson Jr. was indeed the San Francisco 49ers because of the shoulder injury to Isaac Arando and a slight injury to Jordan James. I felt as if Brian Robinson fit this system at the end of the day. All right, tough choice here. We'll get back to the B-Rob situation. Man, receivers are going to be gross. But I just think that running back could be worse. Like, if AJ Brown was here, I just take AJ Brown. It's a great pick for J Dubs, and he gets a stack if you care about that in redraft. I'm a little scared of Devon A-Chain right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna take the floor. I'm gonna go Bucky. I'm really high on this Buccaneers offense going into the year. I'm gonna go running back here, and we're gonna play the floor at the receiver position. I think here as this draft goes on, it's a little risky, but I think the tier of running backs right now with A-Chain on the board, Bucky on the board, JT on the board, Jacobs on the board, there is a little bit higher for me than the tier of MH, JSN, Garrett Wilson at receiver, Terry McLaurin, Tyreek Hill probably in that range as well. And those are all very good wide receivers and all perfectly fine wide receiver ones. And wide receivers are going to be damaged throughout this draft, but I'll take my RB1. But yeah, in terms of Brian Robinson Jr. to the Niners, first of all, I mean, he becomes like a tier 1 type handcuff, one of the more valuable handcuffs in fantasy. I could still see him having some sort of standalone value, even with a healthy CMAC, but it's just going to be too difficult to predict. But Brian Robinson Jr. becomes a very solid handcuff running back. And I think from a redraft standpoint, that's all we can really view Brian Robinson as. In terms of the Washington Commanders running backs, I do want to talk about this a bit. And like League 2 drafted last week for the catch community, and I talked about this aspect in the draft. Like JCM didn't get drafted to like the 10th round, and I really anticipated him going a bit higher. That was before the trade. But now we're seeing JCM's ADP just really, really skyrocket. And I do like him at a particular value, and he has looked good in limited preseason action. But I would be very cautious of this situation because Chris Rodriguez has also looked good in limited preseason action. Jeremy McNichols has looked okay in preseason action. And both these backs had a role on this team last year when Brian Robinson was injured. And I would just say that the role for JCM and Chris Rodriguez, in my mind, going into the season, is the Brian Robinson Jr. role from last year. And it could be a bit more split than some people are anticipating. So I would proceed with some caution if JCM's value starts to get a little bit too high. I would just proceed with caution because, once again, it could be a little bit more split than I think some people are anticipating. And then Austin Eckler's still here. Is Austin Eckler going to lead this backfield? In my eyes, no. But he will have heavy involvement in the passing game, just like he had last year. I mean, last year he only had 77 carries. Granted, he only played in 12 games. But ultimately, he had 41 targets, 35 catches, 366 receiving yards. And when you go back and break down Eckler from a fantasy perspective, week 3, he had a rushing touchdown. Weeks 9 through 10, he had 3 touchdowns through 2 games. Those were all on the ground. Literally, if you really break it down, all of his remaining fantasy points came from receptions and receiving yards, essentially, especially in full PPR formats. So I think Eckler has a role, and it's a prominent role. And in PPR leagues, Eckler's a very good late round back, especially if it's your RB4 or 5 or whatever. If you're going 0 RB or hero RB, whatever it is, right? I do like Eckler, but I'd like him a lot less in half PPR leagues. And I don't think, like, if you're going, like, you're coming out of a draft, like, oh, I got Austin Eckler, like, I got the Commanders RB1. I'm predicting right now, my viewpoint is that This Washington Commanders backfield is going to be really frustrating from a fantasy perspective, unless there's injury. Like Eckler goes down, Rodriguez goes, there's a clear cut number one in JCM. I just think it's going to be, look at the way this system works under Cliff Kingsbury. I think it's going to be a very split backfield. RB by committee is how I look at it. So B-Rob, solid handcuff. Could have standalone value, but I think it's going to be like one of those situations where it's just too hard to predict. You're not going to like starting him ever unless C-Mac is hurt. But if you believe in like the C-Mac injury scare, then you should really like B-Rob right now. Commanders, I think it's an RB by committee. And don't forget, JD5 does take away some goal line value as well. All right, hope you guys are doing great. Smokey, good to see you. Glad to have you in the draft tonight. Wow, QB's already going at a pretty high premium here. Doesn't surprise me. What's up, J Dubs? Good to have you in the draft. Albert, good to see you. ADP update, Van Jefferson 1.1. No, Kyle Pitts still the 1.1. Kyle Pitts, always. Man, you guys are giving me some tough choices in this draft. So, Jay Fitness, glad you're in the draft tonight as well. I used to be really high on like you have to draft 3 quarterbacks. And like I still think it's okay to do so. We do have 6 bench spots. And this is an awkward tier of wide receivers. I just think he's going to be back with the Commanders. I know he's missed a lot of the offseason. I just think Terry McLaurin's the best value at receiver. Man, I was hoping if Trayvon Henderson was there at the 5-3, I was literally going to take him. Andrea, good to see you. Glad to have you in the league again. Yeah, I think Bucky's basically my hero RB. There's a couple names I like coming up here, but tough choice here at the 5-3 for sure. I think I know where. I don't know. This is going to be a tough draft with the keepers, man. So, Johnny, good to see you. Hope you're having a blessed, wonderful day as well. Cat takes his draft already. Mahomes, C-Mac, Bowers, T-Law, B-Tom. Come on, man. A good spot. Yeah, keepers are tough. Keeper drafts are really difficult to prepare for. Yep, B-Rob to the Niners. Hunter Baldwin, would you trade Nico and Evans for Drake and Ladd? Probably. Very high on Nico, but I'm also pretty high on Drake Lundo. Ladd Evans is a very interesting debate. I think there's a little bit more upside with the Drake and Ladd side, maybe a bit more stability with Nico and Evans. I still think Mike Evans is like going to be great this year, which is funny because I'm about to pass on him in this draft. Only because I already have 2 Commanders players, 2 Bucks players. Might get a little risky for the biscuit right there. I want to reach a little. I'm going to go T-Mac. It is a keeper league, so I don't know. But Chad, who would you guys rather have here? Nico Evans or Drake and Ladd? I mean, you can't really go wrong here. If you go by consensus ADP, like the Drake and Ladd McConkey side is winning here. But I will say this, I'm the highest on Nico easily, and I have been throughout the course of the offseason, the highest on Nico. I do think like Ladd's value has dropped in a lot of people's eyes, and I get it with the Rashawn Slater injury. And it is a big blow when you break down the numbers. When you look at, the numbers with Slater on the field versus Slater not on the field are concerning. But I think Ladd McConkey is going to get his no matter what. But if Slater didn't get hurt, I think people would easily be going Drake and Ladd here. Maybe it depends on the rest of the roster as well, Hunter, if you have time to type it out. I mean, like I said, I think there's a bit more upside with the London and McConkey side. But the player I'm highest on is Nico. And just don't forget, I mean, with the Jalen McMillan injury, Godwin, the plan that I've read is the Bucs are going to take Godwin off the PUP list. But he's not going to be ready to play until at least week 6, if not later, week 7, week 8. So, I mean, first of all, just don't get excited when Godwin's off the PUP list. But second of all, this is especially even if you're worried about Mike Evans up there in age, maybe there's injury risk or something. At the end of the day, he's going to eat early in the season. There's no debating it. But yeah, Hunter, maybe if you have time, let us see the rest of the roster. That's a good trade either way, I think. Cinnabone, we're kind of regretting keeping Chase Brown over Nico. I don't remember what round you would have had Nico in, but I mean, Chase Brown in the 10th, you can't really go wrong with it. I think I would have kept Chase Brown. This was the one draft where I usually try not to keep players early, but I didn't have a lot of good keepers in this league. So I just went with JD in the 3rd. Obviously, if it wasn't SuperFlex, I would have done that. Got the Viking stack and the Bucs stack. Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Truthfully, I'd probably have Evans over T-Mac, but I'm trying to get a little bit different exposure here. But yeah, once again, generally for me in redraft, I don't think it's a negative thing, but I don't think that stacks ultimately really benefit you, nor do they really hurt you. They can hurt you. And Roma Dunze scores a touchdown, 3 catches, 45 yards, and a tutty against. I don't know who's out there for the Chiefs right now. You can't play the game while I stream; it'll mess up quality. But to end the second quarter, the Bears do get a tutty. Goes to a Dunze. All right, interesting couple of rounds here. This has been. I expected it to be a little bit of a more aggressive draft at wide receiver, with the majority of the keepers being wide receivers. This has been a pretty heavy running back draft. And I will tell you guys right now, every draft I've been in this year, every real draft, running back is at a premium. It's a big result of last season. But yeah, I mean, running back has been at a premium. Now, this is a 1 flex, super flex league. So we have 1 flex spot, RB wide receiver, tight end, then 1 super flex spot, same thing, but you can also play a quarterback, of course. So I guess wide receiver has a little bit less value. Most of the community leagues are a double flex format, but not a super flex has the second flex. So, I guess here running back does hold kind of higher merit because you can, of course, flex a running back, but you can also flex the receivers. Man, Emeka Egbuka going at the 6'5". I will tell you, especially in a keeper format, that is a player I'm hoping is there for me in later rounds. And it's interesting to see where he goes tonight. So I did one of my home leagues is a super flex league. And I posted that draft on the Discord the other night. I got Emeka Egbuka pretty late. And that's also a keeper format. And yeah, I mean, that's a player that I'm peeled on right now, especially with the Jalen McMillan injury. This is a great pick there. And I don't mind the reach. I probably would still go Sutton over him. And honestly, maybe 1 or 2 players available, but I don't mind the reach, especially in a keeper format. I don't mind it one bit. I don't know where I want to go. I'll just say feels good. I mean, quarterbacks have absolutely been drained by this point. Worthy's a great value there. Love that pick. Couple directions I can go with this next pick. It's a tough choice. Also, just so you guys know, for the IR spot, and this is how all my leagues work. IR, the only eligible players will be players on the PUP list or IR list. And then I think like if they're on like the NFI list, like that would count too. But like suspended players, you can't move to IR. Questionable players can't be on IR. And this is how it is every single year. Monty's a great pick there, but I will take my boy Devonta Smith all day long. I honestly thought J-Dubs was going to take Devonta Smith just to like spite me. Superflex makes stacks more valuable. I guess that is true. Man, Pickens a really good pick. If Pickens was there at the 7-3, I was going to go Pickens. For sure. Man, Swift a good pick here too. Swift a very good pick. That was the other player I had my eyes on. Did something happen with Brees, or was everyone just scared of him? I think just scared. Where do you go? I mean, I noticed he fell 5'9". Yeah, and I think like there's Kenneth Walker or Brees Hall, and that kind of range are the two players kind of dropping right now. Or come draft day, people are willing to kind of pass on. You know, Walker's been a bit banged up. He has practiced. Brees Hall, I think some of the backfield by committee speculation is starting to kind of come to earth, and maybe people are just worried about that, and like Braylon Allen and all of that. So, you know, I'm not personally like super concerned about either player, but it does make it more difficult on actual draft day to pull the trigger on Brees Hall, and I would say Kenneth Walker as well, where like I think people, you know, you see Trayvon Henderson on before them. I think people will just take that upside, for example, even though that's. I mean, the Patriots are probably going to be an RB by committee to a degree. It's Henderson's backfield to win, but you know, you really look at it. Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson will likely have plenty of volume in that offense to start the year. And this is a very tough choice. I'm just going to take some upside here. I don't really love this pick. I don't hate it. I already have one rookie. He is injured right now, and there is stability available at the position, but I'm going to go Travis Hunter here. He's my first bench receiver. I feel like I have some good value in front of him. And like I still have, like, I mean, T Mac's banged up technically. Devon Smith is technically banged up too. And McLaurin, you know, I don't know. Maybe McLaurin doesn't actually play this year. So I don't mind the receiver depth. Once again, it's a keeper format. So a little bit more keen to taking some risk on some receivers, or I mean, sorry, just rookies in general. But I don't know. I like the upside there. I'll risk it for the biscuit. All right. Heating up in the 7th round. See what happens. Just scared. Bad offense, possibly a 3-way committee. Yeah. And like I still like the Jets. You know, I still like Fields at ADP. I still like Garrett Wilson. I don't mind Brees Hall. But I do think like we got two drastically different sample sizes out of preseason for the starters. Like first game looks solid. Justin Fields runs in for a touchdown. We're good. Whatever. Second game against the Giants is like, can this offense move the ball? I don't know. Can Justin Fields actually throw? I don't know. So I think it's the recency bias comes into play here a bit, but you know, Brees Hall, like for your roster is great. You got Jacobs, Hall, and Chase Brown. Like that's perfect. You know, it's a very good use of your keeper to build that room. So I'm good with it. All right, boys and girls, let me know how you guys are feeling so far. It gets tough as the draft goes on. I try not to sway the draft in any direction, but and I'll break down all the teams at the end. But we're already about halfway through. We've got some solid looking teams as well. Yeah, so some of these quarterbacks, some of the later round values starting to go here. Still a lot of receivers. I mean, I guess a good amount of running backs mixed in here. It's been pretty even peel. Only 3 tight ends gone. I'm trying to think if there is any like major news since I last streamed. Sky Moore got traded to the Niners. The Niners are just so banged up. Devon Bailey traded to the Saints. We had the Lamar Jackson scare. Turned out to be nothing, at least in my opinion. Daniel Jones named the starting quarterback for the Colts. I mean, yeah, nothing too wild. Unless you're a Colts fan, I guess. I hope the Sky Moore thing can work out. Man, I was really eyeing Zach Charbonnet as a late round running back here. Good pick, Andrea. Guess I'm buying into Minnesota this year. Got Aaron Jones as well. There you go. Cinnabone. Finally got your second QB. Sammy D. I actually really like Sam Darnold. Like as a late round selection, I think he's gonna be pretty solid. Would probably prefer him as like a QB3, even in SuperFlex. But like I think he's fine. If you need help at the position. Yeah, and then the other thing with Charbonnet is like this is the other part of the Kenneth Walker scare is Charbonnet is like been getting first team reps. Obviously, part of it's because Walker's been hurt. But like now there's like these like murmurs, like Charbonnet could actually open up the season leading the backfield. And he's been like I have talked, if you guys go back and watch the videos throughout the offseason, I have talked a lot about Zach Charbonnet. Like I talked a lot about Kenneth Walker, but every time I talked about Kenneth Walker, I also mentioned Zach Charbonnet. You guys have heard me say it throughout the entirety of the offseason. Like I said, Charbonnet, in my eyes, is maybe the most elite handcuffed running back in all of fantasy football because the scheme is going to be so inclusive to the running back position and has led to so literally, I think it's over the last 4 seasons, other than the San Francisco 49ers, the team that has scored the most fantasy points by running back has been the team that Clint Kubiak has been the offensive coordinator. I'm paraphrasing that, but it's literally like either the last 3 or 4 years. And, it's a system that is so good for fantasy football that it has made, me been a huge fan of Kenneth Walker throughout the offseason, but also you guys have heard me say it time and time, Zach Charbonnet is a great, if not the best handcuff in fantasy. And, unfortunately now we're getting the exact reporting that will kind of, if you were in on the Charbonnet late round party, it's a little bit tougher to get in now. So that's okay. They definitely flying up boards. Yeah, I probably should have gone running back over Travis Hunter. I'm in true hero RB territory. I'm gonna feel okay if I got Tracy. That's a good pick for Jay Fitness. I mean, he's running back just as much as I do. Maybe arguably even more. But it'll be okay. I'll be playing the waivers. Don't know how to feel about my QB room. It is very low ceiling. Caleb giving you the highest. I mean, dude, like I like the Ben Johnson system. I do, but like I'm not a Caleb Williams hater by any stretch. But I am taking Baker confidently ahead of Purdy and Caleb Williams for that matter. Baker wasn't a keep, no. Was Caleb Williams or no? Yeah, man, Matthew Golden, a good pick here, J-Dubs. Guys are a tough crowd. I mean, I don't really need a wide receiver for what it's worth. I mean, I'm just in one of these spots where, like, I think there's better value at other positions. I'm going to regret this. I'm taking another receiver. Like, I'm just going to punt RB and deal with the consequences and aggressively play the waivers and just be loaded at receiver this year and have two of the best quarterbacks possible. It's a tough decision, but we're in it now, boys and girls. Yeah, if Tracy was there, I'd take Tracy in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Great pick for you. Yeah, I'm in deep right now. Bucky, you better not get hurt. Good pick. Jalen Warren's gone. Michael there at the 1-1, kind of RB light. I have 3 stud running backs. Hey, I might need one. But my quarterbacks are not for sale. I'll tell you that much. Zay Flowers is a great value here. Like, I'm taking Addison for the upside, but Zay Flowers is a fantastic value at this point. Okay, I'm not doing this to like hog a position. I'm literally just in deep into this strategy, so like don't hate me. I'm just gonna take Jacoby Myers here, and I'm gonna call it a day at receiver. They're still like, and once again, like I'm glad I went Bucky and went running back over receiver early because I kept saying, like I said at the beginning of the draft, like receiver's so deep, and then SuperFlex receiver gets pushed back. Like, there are still really good wide receivers. I mean, we're getting into a little bit more questionable territory, but there's always value at receiver. And we're 9 rounds in, and like Zay Flowers, Jacoby Myers just now going. Really, really good values here. But I think that just 6 receivers, a good spot. Lots of upside at the position for me, I think. Hopefully. In a Superflex 12-man PPR keeper, should I keep Lamb at round 1 or Chase Brown in the 8th or Nix in the 13th? I go Nix in the 13th. It's the best overall value, in terms of losing a pick compared to gaining a player. Chase Brown in the 8th is very good. I wouldn't go CeeDee Lamb in the 1st. I don't know where you're drafting from, but you might still have a shot to draft CeeDee Lamb, if you really want him. But yeah, I'm always going to put Merritt at the quarterback position in Superflex. You're losing a 13th rounder. You're going into your draft in a Superflex format with your QB1. And you're not even drafting your quarterback to the 13th round, so still can draft another quarterback earlier on. But yeah, ultimately, it's just Bo Nix for me. It is. I like Chase Brown just fine. But if I have the option to get Bo Nix in the 13th, I'm rolling with Bo Nix for sure. I'm also like, I don't want to say higher than consensus, but like Bo Nix is like one of my guys. And I feel like I was the first content creator last year to really be high on Bo Nix during the fantasy season. Early on the season. But yeah, I have a lot of faith in Bo Nix's sophomore season. So just say that. But still, easily, for me, Nix in the 13th. But he's usually like the QB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's like the QB 7 off the board, maybe the QB 8. It's just the best value, and it makes your draft a lot easier to prepare for. Gives you a good advantage. Smokey wants no Steelers players this year. I don't blame you. Low ceiling for most of them. But, like, there's always a correct price. It's between Brown and Knicks. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and, like, I mean, I generally try to not keep first-round players, like Josh Allen in this draft's a good example because Bud Smoker's drafting at the end of the first. Like that's a good example. You're at the 112 and you're keeping Bijan. The 110 in a super flex, you're keeping Josh Allen. That's a little bit different. But generally, I try not to keep a first round player, especially if you're an early first round pick. Like you're drafting like the 1-4 and you keep Lamb. Like I don't particularly love that. Yeah, it got to be Bo Nix for me, man. It's a great pick for you. Yes, Joe Mixon can go on IR. So Godwin can go on IR, who I like just get selected. But the Bucks have already said they're going to activate him off the PUP list to begin the year. So like he's going to be a bench player for you, which is going to be really annoying. Like I know I don't care about fantasy, but for fantasy purposes, it's really annoying. So just keep that in mind if and when you guys do draft Chris Godwin. Like the other super flex league I just did, I did draft Godwin because he fell and fell and fell. And I was like, fine, I'll just draft him and put him on PUP. It's a great value. And now they're gonna take him off PUP. I'm just gonna have to drop him. I need it's a 4 bench league, so it's like I need the other players I have on my bench more. But yeah, it's gonna be really annoying for fantasy. I'm gonna move the draft board down a bit here. Like, don't get me wrong, this league we have 6 bench spots, so it's not as bad at all. But I mean, I know they don't care about fantasy, but it definitely is annoying for fantasy, to say the least. Could have passed there in case he comes back and is my RB1. Yeah, if you go like 0 RB, hero RB, and wow, I love the Jackson Dart pick. We'll come back to that. If Joe Mixon is there and he's your RB4, I personally really like it. Like if Joe Mixon was here at the 10-10, like I just take him. But yeah, I mean he's your RB3. It's still fine. It's still maybe some people like Jordan Mason there. It's a really good value. Mixon is one of those players I talked about in one of the recent videos. Like is a draft day steal for me. When he falls at the right value, it's like yeah, I mean there's still a chance Mixon's ready week 1. But even if he misses a couple weeks, it's like if he comes back and is giving you at least the floor he was giving you at the beginning of the season last year, then he's a really good pick. So I think it's a perfectly fine pick. But yes, he can go on IR to answer your question. There goes JCM. The Jackson Dart pick. I was like, wait, what? There's something else I want to talk about. I was going to take Jackson Dart at the end of this draft if he was there. Good keeper, could be the starter by the end of the season. Could also not see any playing time this year. But yeah, for a keeper league, like as your QB3, I like it a lot. I've also been high on Jackson Dart since the draft, before he was even drafted the Giants. But in a keeper superflex format, I like Jackson Dart a lot. My other league superflex keeper, Bijan at round 1, JD5 at round 7. Took Jaden Daniels. Yeah, I would take Jaden Daniels. Same exact kind of theory we just talked about. Like, for me, you want to secure the quarterback position. I'm going to reach a bit, take another Commanders running back in Austin Eckler. Yeah, and like once again, I try to stay away from keeping first round players in round 1. JD5 is the right call for me, for sure. The JCM hype is out of hand. I do agree. I talked about it at the beginning of the stream. Like I like JCM, and I think like here in the 11th in this area is fine. But once again, just don't be surprised if you're a bit disappointed because we see Chris Rodriguez and or Jeremy McNichols have more volume in this offense than some people are anticipating. And Austin Eckler will be the pass catching back, in my opinion. It's a RB by committee, in my opinion. A full PPR 10-team league, would you prioritize a top 4 QB and a top 3 tight end at the 3rd and 4th on pick 8? No. I would prioritize stacking up at skill position players, especially in a 10-team format. There's going to be so much more depth at quarterback and tight end. You could do one or the other, you know? And quite frankly, if I'm going to go in at the quarterback position in a 1 QB league, I'm just going to target Josh Allen and take him while I can. I wouldn't spend 2 early round picks on a QB and tight end. Maybe if Kittle falls far enough or Hurts falls far enough, sure. But I would say, based on most of the real drafts I've done this year, you want to prioritize running back, look for receiver value as the draft goes on. And I'm pretty keen to late round QBs and tight ends. And I just think it's difficult in single quarterback leagues to go both early quarterback and early tight end. So I think one or the other is fine, unless you're seeing really good value. And the 2 guys out of each tier that could fall would be Jalen Hurts and Kittle. Kittle's pretty steep, though. But like if someone's going to fall, it's probably those 2 guys. Oh. I would do one or the other. 1 flex. For me, running back, wide receiver holds more merit in a 10-team format. Stole my Eckler pick. Well, I needed him, man. I needed him. You better have that pass catching role, I'm hoping. Man, I do have a lot of Washington Commanders on this team at the end of the day. Yeah, Rodgers is gone. Come on, you got to take 1 Steeler. It's not a smoky team without 1 Steelers player. I think Rodgers is a good value in SuperFlex at this point. I mean, he still had some pretty good games last year. Okay, not really. I remember them being better than this. He only had 3 games in the fantasy season over 20 points. Against Jacksonville, Houston. That Houston game was Thursday night game, short week, and then week 3 against New England. So do what you want with that information. It's a run-first system. But I think, once again, he's a starting quarterback. He's not a bad value at this point. I do kind of regret, like, I'll live with the decision, but I still think, like, right now in the draft, wide receiver value heavily outweighs the running back value. Like I would say, there's like 1 or 2 wide receivers I wouldn't mind if I had better running backs on this team. Okay. Who's the best cornerback and why isn't it Sauce Gardner? Pat Surtain is the best cornerback in the league. And I talked about it a lot last year. I don't think Sauce Gardner is up there. He is up there, but he's not the best in the league. He didn't have a great year last year. Oh, tough choices here. Tough choices. I'm taking my tight end. No one else can take it. I probably shouldn't. Probably could have waited there, considering the first or the 2 teams in front of me have a tight end. But I don't care. Tucker Kraft is my guy. This next pick is tough. I love the Christian Kirk pick. He's one of the receivers I'm looking at. Like, yeah, I'd be okay if I had Christian Kirk right at this point in the draft. There goes the Jubster. I think Dalton Kincaid is a good pick here. I'm going to handcuff Bucky because I feel like I need to. But yeah, I'll go Pat Surtain. I like Jalen Johnson a lot. I like Trent McDuffie. I like Derek Stingley. I think you could argue all those guys are in front of Sauce Gardner. But it's like since 2022, like Gardner has the highest PFF score on or through PFF, obviously. I think he has the most incompletions. He just doesn't get thrown his way a lot. And like all those numbers, if I'm not mistaken, Pat Surtain is second in or something right next to. I mean, I think those are pretty confidently a top 5. DJ Reed's very good. Marlon Humphrey. Denzel Ward is still hanging in there. Christian Gonzalez looked great. And Jimmy Jalen Ramsey, but he's getting older and older. But I almost took Braylon Allen over Rachaad White. Quinyon Mitchell was great last year. I still like AJ Terrell, but he's kind of fallen back a bit. Jalen Johnson's great. Yeah, I do agree. Russell Wilson is off the board. Man, I almost took Daniel Jones, too. If I wasn't in such a bad running back situation, I took Daniel Jones. He's still a starting quarterback. Got 3 RBs the same bye week. It's a good point. I haven't even been looking at that. Eckler and Dobbins, the same bye week. So, yeah, I'll figure that out. That's great. I mean, no one made you do this. You do deserve to have Anthony Richardson rostered. Technically, and I forgot to mention it, technically there's supposed to be a 4 quarterback limit, but it's okay. It's okay. We usually do that, but like really the point of that is to prevent someone from going like, Josh Allen, Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. Like that breaks the league. I don't think Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones on top of 3 quarterbacks is going to break the league. And I forgot to bring it up. I usually, if I don't bring it up, that's my fault. I forgot about it. I'm just bringing up the fact that I forgot about it. Yeah, Judkins and Brian Robinson falling here. I was very close to taking one of those 2 guys. I will say I was close. I do agree. Judkins is a good keeper pick, potentially. I want to thank Cats for making my draft feel good. I'm sure you take A.J. Brown. Yeah, A.J. Brown's a good pick for you. I am kind of happy I got forced to take a running back there. Running back, you guys ate up running backs in this draft. Ate them up. No, I kind of wanted Najee Harris. I kind of wanted him. Who'd send a bunch? Yeah, Cedric Tillman, good pick. Hey, Darnell Mooney. You got your keeper next year, Cinnabon. Couldn't pass the dart value. I don't even. Dude, I just got scared. Like, what are my quarterbacks bye weeks? They're not the same bye week. Pitts steal the draft. There we go. 13th rounder. He should have been the 1-1. IR spots. Gonna pick up some waiver wire guys after the draft. Dude, I wanted Keenan Allen. I was so shocked that Keenan Allen was falling this far. I don't mind that I didn't get him because I already have too many wide receivers. But yeah, I'm a little surprised that he fell this far. Give me Tajay Spears. I'm going to go through each team in order. Joe Flacco kicks off the final pick. Very good draft, boys and girls. You guys killed it. That's a tough draft. That was a tough draft, but very enjoyable. Waivers will be open until midnight. So for you weirdos out there who drafted injured players, make your moves now. They will close at midnight. And I'm reviewing your teams based on the players you drafted, not who you drafted and then picked up. J Fitness, I'm looking at you. Waivers will be open till midnight, then they will close. This is a fab league. Okay. Dude, there's no way Keenan Allen was not getting drafted. I would have drafted him if J-Dubs did. Mooney should be your wide receiver one. All right. Once again, waivers will close at midnight. Make your moves now. Usually I close it right after the draft, but this year I'm being more lenient. I almost drafted Rico Dowdle as well, Cats. All right, let's break down everybody's team fast as I can. All right, Michael was at the 1-1. His keeper was Puka Nacua in the 2-12. He's got Kyler Murray, Michael Penix, and Flacco. Ferguson, a great value there, tight end. Lamb, Puka, great start, going double in at the receiver position. Adams, Rice, Flowers, Ayuk. Obviously, Ayuk is headed to IR. Looks like you already picked up Zach Ertz. So solid tight end room. So in a perfect scenario, you're starting Kyler, Michael Penix. I do like Michael Penix as a potential high upside QB2 in SuperFlex. Swift, Warren, running back, Lamb, Puka, Adams. It's a good starting lineup. Obviously, you'll be hunting at RB2 throughout the majority of the season, but you do have options in JCM and Chubb as well. Rashee Rice, a wild card, but he could pay off. And Zay Flowers are a great value for you. So yeah, looks solid. Glad you are back this year, Michael. Cats, stop putting teams on the trade block, please. All right. Smokey is at the 1-2. His keeper was Jamar Chase at the 2-11. He's got Burrow, Tua, and Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback position. Hawkinson, who's a pretty good value in this draft, the 9-2. And Kincaid, also a good value at the tight end position. Not bad at all. I still think Tua is a quarterback who falls back in a lot of these super flex drafts, who is fine QB2. Like him more QB3, but he's fine here. So Chase, Wilson, Pickens, a lot of upside. Olave, a good value for you. Marvin Mims, I love at the end of this draft. Hendo, Pacheco, Benson, Algier. Just took 2 handcuffs. Got a lot riding on Hendo, Pacheco. So in a perfect world, you're starting Burrow, Tua, Hendo, Pacheco, Chase, Wilson, Pickens, Hawkinson. Pretty solid. Not a bad bench. Pretty good team. Do my team last. J Doves. Your keeper was Neighbors in the 5th. You got Hertz, Herbert, Jackson Dart. I don't hate it. You're going to hold on to Jackson Dart all season, or you're going to move from him? You don't have to answer that. AJ Brown, Neighbors, Matthew Golden, Debo, Shaheed, Allen. You got really good wide receiver value. I love Matthew Golden in a keeper format at the 8-9. Cook, Monty Pollard. I mean, really solid running back value there too. Braylon Allen, solid. So you're starting, I mean, Colston Loveland, also a good keeper pick here. So Hertz, Herbert, Loveland, Cook, Monty, AJ Brown, Neighbors, Golden, or Pollard in the flex, and maybe even my guy Debo. Solid team, good value throughout the draft. Cats. Mahomes. Oh, who's your keeper? Who's your keeper? B-Tom in the 8th. Very good. So Mahomes, T-Law, Gino, Colts quarterback room. We're allowing the rule of 4 QBs in the draft to be broken. C-Mac Walker, ETN was fine. You're a little thin at running back, but you do have, there's a little bit of a worrisome running back room, but a lot of upside. Worthy, B. Tom Downs, Luther Burden, Jalen Coker. And you drafted Coker, picked up Rico. Okay. Rico, good move for you. Rico's another guy at the end of the draft I was eyeing. So you're starting in a perfect world, Mahomes, T-Law, C-Mac Walker, Bowers, Worthy, B. Tom, and figure out the flex. You got good enough options. Solid. Good teams, guys. Vincent, first year in the league. Thank you for joining. Let's see what happened here. Your keeper was Higgins in the 6th, if I'm not mistaken. So Goff, Fields, Ward. I like the QB room. Bijan A-Chain, Caleb Johnson, who's you are a fan of, if I remember correctly. Dylan Sampson, Jerome Ford, Higgins, Shakir, Kirk Bryant. Little light at receiver, but pretty dang good everywhere else. Once again, a perfect world, starting Goff, Fields, Bijan A-Chain. That looks solid. Higgins, Shakir, one of the 2 tight ends. And I think you could be very well flexing Christian Kirk. Just solid. Pat Bryant, I like as a potential keeper too. Tyler Warren, a nice potential keeper too. Or maybe McCam Ward. I like this team. Heavy QB RB early. T. Higgins is kind of like your hero wide receiver there. I like it. All right, Jay Fitness at the 1-7. Had Judy as your keeper in the 13th. QBs end up being Baker. JJ's a little riskier if JJ doesn't work out, but I'm okay with it. I like JJ McCarthy. Trey McBride at tight end. Say no more. JJ Evans Sutton is a really good starter receiver. Jawan Jennings, Reed, and Judy as like your late round receivers. Super solid. Obviously, Judy was your last year keeper. 0 RB. Aaron Jones, Tracy Mixon, Javonte, Najee. Could be a lot worse. Plus, you threw Najee and Mixon on PUP. Pick up Rashad Bateman, which I really like. And Chris Rodriguez, another solid move. Good team. Perfect world. It's going to be Baker, JJ, McCarthy, Trey McBride, JJ as in Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Sutton, Aaron Jones, Tracy, and a solid bench. That's a good team. Kuda. Your keeper was Ladd in the 9th. So you got Purdy, Drake May. Someone had to take greatness. Russell Wilson. Gibbs, Hampton, Mason, Bayshaw, Tootin, Jadon Blue. Nice. Mecca, Buka, Pearsall, Waddle, Ladd, and Kyle Williams. You have a lot of good potential keepers. You got Kittle on this team as well. One thing I respect about Kuda is he goes out and gets his guys always, and he does not care about ADP. So in a perfect world, Purdy, May, Gibbs, Hampton, Kittle, Ladd, Pearsall, and Buka, maybe Waddle over one of those guys. Solid bench as well. Starting lineup's good. This is always a tough league, but this is going to be a tough league this year. Cinnabone. Chase Brown in the 10th was your keeper. Caleb Williams. Once again, I'm drafting Baker or Purdy, especially Baker, confidently over Caleb. And I'm not a Caleb Williams hater. Nonetheless, you are a Bears fan. Caleb Williams, Darnold, Stafford. Low ceiling here. But I think Caleb Williams is fine as QB1. Jacobs, Hall, Brown, Junkins. Pretty solid running back room. Especially with your keeper involved there. Amon-Ra, JSN, DJ Moore, Coleman, Mooney, Tillman. A lot of upside those last 3 picks. You always get a lot of Bears, and we know why. So in a perfect world, Caleb, Darnold, Chase Brown, Jacobs, Amon-Ra, JSN. You do have a good kind of flex situation with Breece Hall and DJ Moore, and a good bench. It's a solid squad. Evan Ingram at tight end. Sorry, I keep forgetting tight ends in this draft. And yeah, for any of you guys who drafted 2 tight ends, you guys can flex your tight end, I know. Bud Smoker is at the 110. His keeper was Josh Allen. I was like, wait, who was the keeper? Yeah, okay. Josh Allen at the 110. Ooh, sorry. Spazzing out. So you roll with just Josh Allen and Jordan Love. So I think me, Bud Smoker, Andrea, and Miss Sarcastic, the only teams to go 2 QB. Everybody else at least took like a Russell Wilson. So let's see. Kelsey's your tight end. Running backs are Henry, JT, Kamara. Nice. Scattaboo, Robinson, Davis. Not bad. Hill, Metcalf, Ridley, Godwin, Cup. Solid. Starting Allen and Love. Kelsey at tight end. Henry, JT, Hill, Metcalf. Flex Ridley or Kamara. And a good bench. You guys drafted some killer teams. I mean, this is always a tough league. This league has been together. At least 10 of the teams have been together for, 3 years now? We've only had like 1 or 2 replacements. It's always a tough league. But yeah, these teams are solid, guys. All right, Andrea's at the 111. Her keeper was J-Mo at the 10th. She's a good keeper. So you got Dak and Bryce. I think Bryce Young will be good enough to be a QB2. Like, what else were you gonna? I'd maybe go for. I don't know. You weren't really in position to take Darnold or Geno. Quite frankly, the board didn't really work out for you to go for a 3rd QB, so I don't really mind that you didn't. Andrews, perfectly fine tight end. Barkley, Kyron, Connor, Charbs, Nico, Rome, J-Mo, Pittman, Bigsby, Stevenson, Leggett. I think I would have gone with more receivers at the end of your draft because you spent so much draft capital running back through the first 7 rounds. Like, it didn't really hurt your lineup. Like, personally, I would have got Christian Kirk at the 12-2, and then Keenan Allen at the 13-11, and whatever you wanted the 14th. But it didn't really hurt your team, I don't think. But yeah, starting Dak, Bryce, Andrews, Barkley, Kyron, Nico, J-Mo. Then you can flex Connor, flex Adunze, maybe flex Pittman. It's a pretty solid bench. I don't hate it at all. I don't know about that. Don't ask me who the best team is. Like, you guys drafted good teams across the board here. I do really like Jay Fitness's team. just because I think the bench to starter ratio turned out to be very good. All right, let's end it up with Mr. Sarcastic. Then we'll take a look at my team. Bo Nix was your keeper, which was great. You went Stroud in the fourth. And I do think this was the right move to kind of load up early at skill positions. So you end up with Genty, RJ Harvey, Chuba, Ollie Gordon, Lundo, MH, Diggs, Higgins, Trey Harris, Donta Thornton, Laporta, and you got to steal the draft, Kyle Pitts, 13th. So you're starting Bo Nix, Stroud, Laporta, Genty, Chuba, Harvey, Lundo, Harrison, Diggs, or one of these two running backs in the flex. Good bench, and you really, I mean, like in terms of keeper league, like it feels like he just went for keepers at the end of the draft, which is okay. But also, guys, he could contribute this year. Yeah, another good team. This was a tough draft, guys. You guys killed it. And I'm not just saying that. All right. I went true hero RB over here. How do you guys feel about this draft? Because I just kind of, I don't even know. We'll talk about this team in a minute. I don't know, just like this team. J-Dubs, thank you for gifting a 1-month membership. Went to Mr. Sarcastic. Can keep Dart. Yeah, I would personally hold on to Dart too. Cash draft to a best ball team. It does. Sometimes it gets engraved in your brain. Kind of pressing the hero wide receiver by circumstance, like the challenge. Didn't want Ward, but he gave me a bye week stagger. Same with tight end. Got sniped a lot. Definitely a fun draft. Yeah, I did end up liking your team bets. Yeah. I think the hero receiver bill kind of worked out for you. I'm not even looking at bye weeks. I probably should have. Yeah, a lot of solid squads. Like having the Caleb, DJ, JSN, Darnold stacks. Not bad. Good logic. Yeah, this was a tough league for you to hop into and have Judy as your keeper. Same for Vincent to hop into. It's always hard to hop into a keeper league. Kind of scared for me. I'm scared too. Yeah, I drafted for upside, and I kind of like it though. Yeah, you guys want to move to a SuperFlex 3 wide receiver, 1 running back format? You know, and just asking. I kind of like it though. I kind of do. So Lamar, Jaden was my keeper in the 3rd. I did not draft another quarterback, and I'll figure it out in the bye weeks. I'll start a receiver in the flex or whatever, in the super flex. But yeah, I mean, I will say, like, I look at this draft, right, and some of these picks, like, let's say Henderson or Walker or Hall over McLaurin could have been my RB2. And then let's say no Travis Hunter, I go Tony Pollard or Aaron Jones. So I lose 2 receivers. I still have T-Mac, Devonta, Addison, Myers. And instead of Dobbins and Eckler, I have Christian Kirk or Michael Pittman. I mean, I could have maybe still gone Dobbins and Eckler. And I mean, like Rashad Bateman got picked up after the end of the draft. I'll basically put it this way. Marvin Mims, he went at the 14-11. Keenan Allen at the 14-9. Rashad Bateman undrafted. Christian Kirk in the 12th. If any of those 4 guys are my wide receivers, like my last 2 wide receivers drafted in full PPR, like I'm okay with those guys. So I will say, especially in the super flex format, wide receiver is so deep and it gets pushed back a bit that this strategy is probably not the best. And in all the super flex drafts I prepared for this year, I've gone heavy running back early, heavy QB, heavy RB early, but I always like to kind of switch things up. And I'm okay that I went this route. I got a lot of upside at receiver. And personally, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about receiver throughout the course of the season. I also, not that this is an excuse in any way or that I regret this draft, but it is more difficult to stream and draft. So a lot of times on the drafts that I stream, I switch it up a bit. And I try not to worry too much. But yeah, this is a hero RB team, early QB. I still got my guy at tight end. Tucker Kraft, counting on you this year. All right, so Lamar, JD5, Kraft, Bucky Irving, J.K. Dobbins, Austin Eckler, Rashad White, Tajay Spears are my running backs. Wide receiver, McLaurin, T-Mac, Devonta, Travis Hunter, Addison Myers. So for this team, obviously I'm going to have to ensure that tight end works out. As long as it does, I'm set at quarterback. We'll figure out the bye weeks, But you can't really argue that Lamar Jackson, JD5. I mean, quite frankly, that might be the best. You guys tell me. I think it's the best quarterback room in the league. So I'll take that upside. If one of them gets hurt, then yeah, sure, we're screwed. You can say that in a lot of scenarios. So, yes, this is just a single flex after the two wide receivers are started. But yeah, I have a lot of good potential keepers at receiver, and I don't need to worry about the position. So starting Lamar, JD5, Kraft, Bucky, then Dobbins or Eckler. Then you fill in the two wide receivers in the flex with any of these 6 wide receivers. And I will say, I can take the risk on Addison here because I can't put him on IR, but he can hang out on my bench because I don't need him right now. So the upside late is fine. But yeah, once again, if I replace, just for example, McLaurin or even T-Mac with Henderson, Walker, it would have been one of those two guys. And then I would have drafted Devonta Smith. I can tell you guys that much. If I replace Travis Hunter with Pollard or Jones, it's a little bit more even. Then there's better wide receiver value at the end of the draft as opposed to running backs. But you never know. But yeah, great draft, guys. Y'all killed it. Yeah, as soon as I said that, I was like, wait, that's right. He was in the league last year. As soon as I said that, I was like, wait, he didn't join. He just had a poor keeper. It wasn't that bad of a keeper. Poor compared to others. Don't love my QBs, but I'm fine rotating Stafford and Darnold. Hey, other QBs will pop up throughout the year. Yeah, that is the one advantage. I have some nice keepers. But honestly, looking through the draft, everyone had good potential keepers. Question for everyone. What's up, Jay Money? Playing a 12-team 3-flex, projecting the 12th spot. 0.25 per carry, 1 point per 15-yard rushing. So 1 point for 4 carries. How would everyone draft in this league? I would imagine running backs are going to go at a higher premium. I would say at the end of the first, if you can stack Genty and Henry, I would do it. Take that volume. 3 flex PPR. Yeah, I would go running back early regardless. More voluminous running backs are going to have value here. Maybe even if you get guys like C-Mac and A-Chain, even Bucky or Chase Brown, it's fine. And then I would kind of, in terms of your flex and everything, hash out wide receiver as the draft goes on. But I would start your draft with 2 running backs in the 12th. I'd go Genty and Henry. That would give you a big advantage. But they may not be there. If there's a stud wide receiver there, like a Nico, Neighbors that you feel like you can't pass up, I think it's okay still. Being that you have 3 flexes. Judy going to avenge your poor description. Yeah, I don't think Judy was I think just poor compared to other keepers. You're kind of in a tough spot. But not bad. Still very solid starter. All right, I played Mr. Sarcastic week 1. Yeah, this is also one of those builds, as long as I can get a decent 4 out of the RB2, I think I'm in a very good spot. It also depends on if Tucker Kraft is a guy or not, but I could play waivers at times. But yeah, great league. Congrats to everybody in the annual SuperFlex League. Great draft tonight, boys and girls. We'll be back on tomorrow night. And league number 5, the 3 wide receiver league, which I'm very excited about, is drafting tomorrow. So make sure you guys come hang out tomorrow, talk some fantasy football. We'll have some more preseason to react to, not a whole lot, but some. And you guys will see a 3 wide receiver draft tomorrow. Sunday, league number 3, which is a regular full PPR league, double flex, will be drafting. Monday night, league number 1 will draft. That is a regular double flex format, but that is a keeper league. For those of you guys in the auction league, we are drafting Tuesday night. I will not be streaming that league. Yeah, wide receiver depth was crazy this. If I do say so myself. Gotta go prep for League 5. League 5 is gonna be a lot of fun. I love 3 wide receiver formats. Jones being the starter in Indy, likes checkdowns. Do you think JT will catch 50 passes? It's possible as long as he stays healthy. I mean, yeah, JT's another good volume-based guy. He had 18 catches through 14 games last year, though. Different quarterbacks. I mean, I don't know if he'll catch 50. Excuse me, at 31. Yeah, so 31 targets. But he's never had 50 catches in his career. So I don't know. Potentially. I wouldn't bank on it. Yeah, I think Chase Brown will give you that higher upside if you want a receiving back. I do agree. All right, guys, congrats again. We'll be back on tomorrow night for league number 3's drafts. If you guys have fantasy questions, come out tomorrow night, talk some fantasy football. For the next couple of days, we'll just have the drafts going on, the streams. And then week 1's videos will start coming out Thursday the 28th. Must start defenses, an early waiver video, wide receiver, start sits for all games, all matchups, all players. Saturday the 30th, the RB start sit. Sunday the 31st, QB tight end start sit. Monday the 1st of September. Kicker rankings, Tuesday the 2nd. And a couple additional videos leading up to kickoff and into the first full weekend of NFL action. Going to be a great season, and it is almost here. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Everyone, once again, in the SuperFlex League, congrats. Great draft. Y'all killed it. And I will talk to everybody tomorrow night. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, is on here, on the catch. And